Hey there, it's Trucker Wayne with Driver Solutions. 25 years and 25,000 people they helped obtain their CDL. You could be one of them. So on Trucker Wayne, we asked, what would you like to do, me to do a video on? And Jesse had one that stuck right out to me. A lot of times people don't start out right into flatbedding, but then they get into it and love it. And Jesse said about weight distribution on a flatbed. Loved it. When I was for 2 years when I was flatbedding, I never had to go back to the shipper to I never like left and went 50 miles out of the way and weighed and had to come all the way back. That was because of the weight distribution and all the math involved in getting it done right. I got a little story I'll tell you though, because one time I would have had to go back down into LA. And I'll tell you that story in a little bit here. But so I had fixed axles, no spread. And I had to go 34,000 on the rear, 34,000 on the drive, and then you had to steer, and you go up to 12,005 on the steer. But if you do that, you're gonna have to take away 30, let's say 33.5 on the drive. Okay, so it just depends on how much weight you got going on in the steer. Well, when you start out flatbedding, especially if you have the fixed axles, it's all about the math, right? And the thing is this is really important if you're coming from dry van. A lot of times they'll just load you up, you won't even watch them, and they'll get you loaded up with 44,000 pounds, and a lot of times they know how to do it, and they'll get in there. Plus you can move your axles and get your weight right. But with flatbedding, you don't have that, especially when I had my fixed axles there, so you had to do all the math. You can get up to, I think my largest load I ever had was 49,100 pounds. That was my max, right? But what you have to do with weight distribution is you have to know your center line. The newer trailers coming out, the center line is almost dead right in the middle of the light, in the middle light. I had a trailer one time where my center line was about maybe a foot back. Extremely important, especially if you're pushing the limits with, let's say, a 49,100 pound load. You have to be able to distribute that weight, right, between the rear and the drives. Super important. So let me tell you a little story here about weight distribution. I was in Compton picking up some shingles, thank you. And when I picked up these shingles, it was almost 49,000 pounds, right? Well, you can tell how much weight per pallet on the shingles, right? Because if you know you have 49,000 pounds, you know how many pallets you're going to get. You can divide them to, and you can figure out how much each pallet weighs. Now, this is where the high-low driver and the flatbed driver, they have to work together. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time, the high-low driver knows that you have to work with the flatbed driver, because a flatbed driver is one who knows their equipment. They know, the flatbed driver is the one who knows where the center line is. Like on this one trailer I mentioned it was 1 foot back. Extremely important so you can distribute the weight properly. So I was down in Compton, and the guy was loading me, and he had loaded me before, and something was wrong with him this day. He was mad, and I kept getting out. And he's like, you got to stay in your truck. You got to stay in your truck. And I was like, no, I don't. And he's like, get in your truck or I'm going to stop. I got tired of listening to him. I got in my truck. When he got done, I got out, and I said, hey, I need to have you move one of these pallets from the back to the front. And he's arguing with me. And he's like, nope, I do this all the time. He goes, this is right. And I'm in Compton now, near the LA area. And I really just got tired of listening to him. Didn't want to. This is early on in my career as well. And I was like, I knew I was overweight. I did the math. I wanted to move it. Got tired of him. So what I did was I got my paperwork and I left. Head up to Barstow. It was a Friday. Got out of the LA traffic. That was another reason too. I didn't want to get stuck later in the day. It's always bad. But though I left, got up to Barstow, weighed myself, and I was over 1 pallet in the back, and I was mad. I was extremely mad. So I called into the office and said, I'm sitting here, and Monday I'm going back down there. I'm making him move that pallet. And I had to do a reset as well, and the office said, Wayne, you're the one that left. You need to move that pallet. Relax. Take your break, maybe take your 34-hour reset, and you're going to have to move the pallet yourself because you're not going to go back down into LA. We need you to get moving. So I slept on it, and the next Saturday I get up, and what did I do? I moved an entire pallet of shingles from the back to the front to get the correct weight, right? Now, why did I have to do that? Well, I did the math. I knew that it was going to be too heavy on the back. I knew that, and I still left. I should have put my foot down and said, nope, we work together. I was tired of listening to him, so I did it myself, and I moved that pallet from the back to the front and got legal. So yeah, that's some of the stories that you have in flatbedding. Now I could have, that may have been a situation where if it wasn't shingles and I could move it myself, I would have had to go back down there and do it. But it was a great question. You got to get good on your math. You have to be good at math. And if you're not good at math, all right, you'll get better at math. You'll make some mistakes and you start to figure out, okay, this is how I'm going to distribute the weight, because you got to know with lumber, you got to know how much each bundle is. And a lot of times at the lumber places, they have scales there too and help you out, and so you don't have to leave. And you can weigh it there and they can start moving it around a little bit. This is Trucker Wayne with Driver Solutions, with the positive path to trucking success. And check my Facebook page out at Trucker Wayne, and I'm out.